Okay, and welcome back everybody. We got another product to review here from PowerSmart. This time it is the 2350 watt inverter generator. They have 3 inverter generators. This is the smallest of the 3. And excited to see what it looks like. Let's open up the box and check it out. Okay, so let's take a look inside this box here. We can see it's packed very well. The first thing I'm seeing there is a funnel. Top piece comes off. We got a funnel in there, and we've got is probably a wrench on that part. Let's take this out, and then in there is the generator. So it's about 40 pounds. Let's see if I can just grab this. Yeah, it's got some weight to it, but you can definitely grab it by the handle. That is a sandhill crane you heard in the background. We're in Florida. And so, there he goes again. Okay, I think the birds are done making a racket, and we can take a better look at this. So that is the oil-filled tube. I've been reading the instructions. It does not come with oil, so you have to put your own oil in there. Let's open that up. There you go. Dipstick. Yellow dipstick. Orange dipstick. Not sure what color that is. Anyway, it is 10W30 oil you got to put in there, and not included, so hopefully you got some around there. This little cover is for spark plug access, and I don't think it's going to come off easy with one hand. So, this is a gas engine. It's a 4-cycle regular gas, no oil, no gas and oil. Meaning it's not a 2-cycle, just gas. So there is a spark plug. There's your gas cap for filling in the gas. And the control panel we'll get to in a second. Over there is your pull handle for starting. And over here, your exhaust and exhaust screen. Now we can get to the panel. Well, it does have some weight to it. Let's turn it this way. So what we got here on the control panel is a bunch of stuff. Let's start left to right. Obviously, when it's running, the run light will be on. Over means overload. If you have, and probably it will trip its little breaker where you're going to have to hit that reset if you go over 2350 watts. The overload light will come on and it will stop outputting, it says. If you're low on oil, the oil light comes on. CO lamp means carbon monoxide. It has a sensor for if it is in too enclosed of an area, carbon monoxide light will go off. And I don't know if it stops outputting, but it probably does. So it's a sensor to make sure you're safe, because that stuff will kill you. Eco mode, I'll go over in a second for when you're starting. Obviously, 120 volt outlets are just like in your house. And then this one here, DC, is anything that you're used to plugging into your cigarette lighter in your car, you can plug in there. And then here, these are USBs. Get a kick out of that. I don't know how loud it is, but you could power your laptop computer off of it. Nearby a generator that's making noise. And this is a reset for if you trip it with an overload. And then there's your breaker for your DC output. This thing over here, parallel connect, requires something called a parallel kit. I don't know what parallel connect is. I don't know how it works, and I can't show it because I don't have the kit. Now down here, this is a ground. What they're saying, they're recommending for safety is that you actually attach a wire to that and wrap it to a copper spike and drive that into the ground for grounding. We're not going to do that, but for complete safety, that's the best way to run probably any generator, I guess. Anyway, okay, so when you're starting it, you got this on-off switch, which is also, it's a 2-part switch where it's turning on and off the ignition, and it's turning on and off the fuel. They're both connected in there. So to start it, you would pull the choke out, which is that lever up there, turn it to the on position, which turns on the gas, and then you start it. Now, eco mode, they say to run it in eco mode most of the time unless you're running something that's really pulling a lot of watts. Because what that does is it runs at a lower engine RPM to use less gas if it doesn't need all that power. So you're running something that's just taking like 50 watts. It'll be running really, really low RPMs until you plug in more stuff, and then it will automatically increase the engine speed, and we'll test that to accommodate the higher wattage. But it says if you're plugging in something that's 2,000, you're running a hairdryer off of this thing, just go ahead and turn it off, because it's going to be running at maximum anyway. So that explains the control panel. Now at this point I've got to put some oil in it, and I've got to put some gas in it, and then we'll hook some stuff up to it. So that'll be in a second. Okay, so now I've got it all full of gas and full of oil. It was a bit of a guessing game on the oil. It was taking more oil than I had thought. I ended up doing it by trial and error and getting some oil spilled. And then, after I was done with all that, I went to the owner's manual. And we're finding out that for oil, it is 16.9 fluid ounces. Now there's 32 ounces in a quart, so it's about a half a quart. So it would probably be a good idea to have a half a quart measured out before you start to pour, so that it doesn't overflow like it did with me. Just a tip there. And then the fuel tank, it takes a gallon, just over a gallon, and I didn't fill it up because we're not in a hurricane situation here yet. We're in Florida, so it will happen, but not yet, so I'm not going to fill it all the way up. And we'll be doing the test here. So at this point, oh yeah, and I forgot to mention that it did come with a wrench as well. It was in the bag in that packaging material. And that's for the spark plug, which is under this cover here. Anyway, so now we're going to be starting it up for the first time and seeing what it sounds like just running with nothing on it. So let's do it. Okay, so here's how they say to do it. You take your eco mode button, turn it to the on position, then you flip your on-off switch, which is also your fuel cutoff switch, combined, and you pull out your choke, and then you pull the pull handle there, and let me back up to do that. Wow, so I'm not going to cut the scene off because that was actually the first pull of the first start. Incredibly started right up. Wasn't expecting that. And listen to how quiet. Listen to how quiet that is. I mean, I'm not completely sure. Let me get right up next to it. Okay, we are right next to it now, and I'm pretty sure you can still hear me. I don't know what the decibels are, but that is very quiet for a generator. So if it's outputting at a low wattage, like 100 watts, I think that it would stay at about this level. But we'll go get some things to plug in and see what the differences are. Okay, so we are going to get started with a toaster. Now you might be thinking that that's a super high wattage thing, but it's not. It's a moderately wattage thing. Let's see if I can get this somewhere on the screen. You are reading that this is an 850 watt toaster, so well within the limits of the generator and silent so that you can actually hear the generator ramp up. So let's go plug this in and make some imaginary toast and see what the generator does. Okay, so that was a good example. Now, you might be wondering, well, gosh, why would you have the toaster outside? Well, during a hurricane, you have everything outside. Anyway, let's find something at a little higher wattage to see if we can get it to throttle up a little bit more. Okay, so as you can see, this time we got a microwave, and this is 1,000 watts. So let's plug it in and start it up and see what happens. So no problem on the microwave, and let me tell you, the microwave is important during a hurricane. And in fact, we just went through a hurricane last year where our generator could not power the microwave. So already this is great. Now let's get something quite a bit more serious because I want to max it out. Let's see. Okay, so this time we are going to do a space heater. Now a space heater is not important during a hurricane, but I wanted to try to get up to the screen. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you. This is 1300 with the way the, I think I'm on it now. Okay, so hopefully you can read that. Somewhere on the screen is the 1300 watts for this, which I know isn't maxing it out, but I'm also going to bring the microwave back out there. And so we're going to turn this on, and then we're going to turn the microwave on. Okay, so what you just saw it do, because that's 1300 watts plus 1000 watts is 23, it's right at maximum, and I saw the little overload light come on, and then it turned off its output and then throttled down. just like it was supposed to do. But for a short time it was able to do it. But ultimately though, it would be able to do 2 microwaves, or a microwave and a toaster. It's just, you know, space heater. So in the middle of hurricane season, you don't need a space heater anyway. Okay, just coming up to it here, I just wanted to show what's happening with the overload light. We overloaded it, and now the microwave should not turn back on, but the heater will be on. So just pressing this reset switch should turn it back on. So right now it's only running the heater. That we broke it. Okay, so I did finally spot the problem. I know a lot of you probably saw it right off the bat and I totally missed it. It's not 1300 watts on the space heater, it is 1500 watts. So we just tried to pump 2500 watts through this and it didn't work. Now I'm not that bad at math, but I am that bad at eyesight. And so that is why it tripped the overload. Otherwise, at 1300 watts, I think it would have kept running. Anyway, that about wraps it up for this video. So it will run a microwave, it'll run a space heater on a hot day, if you want to. It'll run your toaster. It is not going to quite run the griddle. Something that we use all the time is the electric griddle, which is about 3000 watts. So you'd have to get a bigger one. Like what I'd forgotten to mention is that this is actually the smallest inverter generator that PowerSmart makes. They make 2 steps higher, the largest one being 4500 watts. And that one would surely do it. Or it would even run in the space heater. It would run 2 space heaters on a hot day after a hurricane, if you wanted to. Anyway, very impressive the way the electronics work. It's definitely worth the extra money that you would pay for the inverter generator, as you saw. If it's under a small load or no load, it's just like on an idle and barely making any noise and barely using any gas. And I'm very impressed. This is really, really cool. I hope you liked the video, and all the links to go get one is going to be down in the description and in the top post, the top pinned comment. So go check it out. And y'all have a good one.